A typical day in the office would be coming in the morning. I get here about 8:30, answer my emails, visit to the coffee machine, then some research and some designing through the day, which would be the bulk of my day.
So apart from fashion, what fills your mind on a daily basis?
My mind would be filled on a daily basis with my children. I'm always thinking about them and what they're up to. They're both full of life. I've got a little boy who's 6 and a little girl who's 10, and she's into dancing, he's into football. They love my designs and love making handbags as well. They're always colouring in when they come in here, and they're a lot of my inspiration, actually.
Are you inspired by what you see in movies and magazines and music, or is there a particular place that you look to for inspiration?
I'm inspired by everything, and it really depends. I usually start at a point. There's a point in time where one season is over and I start working on the next season, and it seems to be that whatever I'm interested in at that point in time becomes my inspiration for that next season. It may well be a movie that I've loved, or even a book that I've read that's about something totally irrelevant to design, but just something in it, you know, fired me up, a paragraph that was written or whatever, or a card that somebody sent me or whatever. That'll be the starting point, and then on it goes from there. Or it might even be a holiday, which is, you know, always a lovely inspiration to have. And that the summer '08 collection is inspired by a holiday that I had.
Your designs always have a really clever combination of colour and texture, like that's a theme. So is that something that you've always loved or had a passion for?
Absolutely. My mum was a fashion designer, and she actually had her studio out the back of our house, which was lucky for us. She worked at home, and the studio was full of fabrics. And so my love of fabrics actually comes from those early days of working with fabrics with her and loving texture and colour.
How do you remind yourself that you're designing for your audience?
Well, I just hope that my audience is like me. I find that I don't design terribly much for myself, because if I were doing that, I would find it too hard to make a decision. When you go to do something for yourself, it's like when you're at home and you think, oh no, so how am I going to redo this room? You get all these magazines and you love this and you love that and you love the other thing, and you can't make a decision because really you want it all, and you'd like it all to work out. Whereas when you say, oh, I'm going to design for this person or that person, you know in your mind exactly what you're going to do. So it's much easier to design for other people and add a bit of myself into everyone.
Have an Australian designer that you look up to or admire?
I think Colette Finnegan is fantastic. She is the dress designer to my handbags, I hope. Her design's beautiful, and I think she's admirable in that she's, you know, taken her brand overseas. You can see her in the windows of Harvey Nichols and many different stores in Europe, and designer to the stars. That's fantastic for an Australian designer.